Let the record show it's 6 o'clock. We'll call our meeting to order. Sarah, will you please do the roll call?
Tim Whitaker, Linda Barnhart,
Present.
Eric Goff,
Here.
Shannon Morton,
Present.
Tim Lewis,
Present.
Daniel Gant, Michael Bush,
Here.
Ronald Truitt.
Okay, we do have a quorum. We have lengthy meeting this evening, a lot of public hearings. I will ask if you have an issue that you want to discuss or items you want to bring up under the public hearing, that if there are more than one person who wants to bring up the same item, that we limit to just one person speaking instead of 10 people saying the same thing, so we can move along. We have the approval of the agenda.
Move to approve.
Okay, and this is a amended agenda.
Move to approve.
I have a motion from Mr. Goff to approve the amended agenda.
Second.
Second by Mr. Lewis. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Okay, we have open governmental. Did anybody sign in to speak under that? Okay, let the record show that there's no one to speak under the open governmental process. Approval of the meeting minutes.
Move to approve.
Motion by Mr. Goff to approve the meeting minutes as submitted.
Second.
Second by Mr. Lewis.
Abstain due to absence.
Okay, let the record show that Mr. Gann is abstaining due to absence. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the minutes are approved. We will begin our public hearings with Whispering Pines.
The first public hearing tonight's a request for final plat approval. The project is Whispering Pines Townhomes Phase 4, lots 32 through 71. The file is 2402-037. The developer is DR Acquisitions LLC and the engineer is Fox & Associates. It's located in the Mill Creek District, tax map 10, parcel 50, and is located on the south side of Middleway Pike, approximately 3,000 feet west of the intersection of Middleway Pike and 3 Run Road. This final plat proposes 40 townhome lots on 5.55 acres to be served by public water and sewer. The final plat meets the requirements of the subdivision ordinance, therefore staff recommends final plat approval. Staff currently holds a grading and performance bond for $836,988.90, which covers this final plat.
Thank you. Do we have anyone to represent Whispering Pines?
Yes, good evening. Steve Sianovich, representing the applicant. And Linda, I'd like to add that this phase of Whispering Pines is the final phase of the community.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, this is a public hearing. It's your opportunity to make your questions or comments known regarding this project. We would ask that you come forward, state your name, your address, and any comments you might have.
There is no one. I move to close public hearing.
Let the record show that there's no one to speak. I have a motion by Mr. Goff to close public hearing.
Second.
Second by Mr. Bush.
Yes.
Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Public hearing is now closed on Whispering Pines. Planning Commission members, how about you? Do you have questions of Mr. Sianovich or of the staff?
There are no questions. I'll make a motion. We accept staff recommendation. Final plat meets requirements of subdivision ordinance. Therefore, I make the motion that we approve the final plat with the performance bond that's already in place.
Okay.
Second.
I have a motion from Mr. Gant, second by Mr. Goff to accept staff recommendation, and that is to approve the final plat contingent upon the grading performance bond of $836,988.90. Questions? No questions. Can I have a vote? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay, the next public hearing is Arcata Springs North.
This public hearing is also a request for final plat approval. The project is Arcadia Springs North, Section 1, Phase 12, lots 153 through 157, 175 through 205, and 33. The file is 2402-050. The developer is Monarch Development Group and the engineer is Gordon. It's located in the Arden District, tax map 12, parcel 29.3, and is located on Van Clevesville Road, approximately 2,000 feet east of its intersection with Needy Road. The developer is proposing 39 single-family detached lots on approximately 14 acres to be served by public water and sewer. The final plat meets the requirements of the subdivision ordinance, therefore staff recommends final plat approval, contingent upon receipt of a surety in the amount of $899,028 even, plat to be released upon receipt of surety and completed developer's agreement.
Okay, do we have anyone to represent the project?
Lynch Christian, representing the developer.
Okay, thank you. This is a public hearing. Again, your opportunity to make your questions or comments known.
If there is no one, I move to close public hearing.
Second.
Okay, let the record show that there's no one to speak for the public regarding Arcata Springs North. I have a motion by Mr. Goff, second by Mr. Gant to accept staff to close public hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Public hearing's now closed. Planning Commission members, how about you? Do you have questions of Mr. Christian or of the staff?
Hearing none, Madam President, I make a motion to accept final plat approval contingent upon receipt of surety in the amount of $899,028, plat to be released upon receipt of surety and completed developer's agreement.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Bush, second by Mr. Goff, to accept staff recommendation, and that is to grant final plat approval contingent upon receipt of surety in the amount of $899,028. Is there any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Did I get an aye from everybody?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
The next public hearing is Exit 23 Story.
This public hearing is a request for waiver. The project is Exit 23 Storage. The file is 2404-099, tied to 2307-244 and 2304-123. The developer is Exit 23 Storage LLC, and the engineer is CEC Inc. It's located in the Falling Waters District, Tax Map 10, Parcel 77, and is located at 8050 Williamsport Pike, approximately half a mile south of the Falling Waters Interstate 81 interchange. The developer is proposing a 15,000 square foot self-storage facility on approximately 1.72 acres. At the October 16th, 2023 Planning Commission meeting, the developer was denied a waiver to Section 802.1.b.ia of the subdivision ordinance requiring a 25-foot buffer between a commercial use and a residential use. Since that meeting, the developer and their engineering firm has redesigned the site and are now asking for the Planning Commission's reconsideration of the waiver request. The developer is proposing a buffer reduction from 25 feet to 3 feet along the southern property line. The access aisle would be 3 feet from the southern property line, but the structures would be 25 feet from the southern property line. In order to compensate for the reduced buffer, the developer is proposing the installation of an 8-foot tall privacy fence. Due to the narrow width of the lot and proposed screening that surpasses the minimum required by the ordinance, staff recommends approval of the waiver to Section 802.1.b.I.A.
Do we have anyone to represent the project?
Brady Stetler, CEC, engineer.
Sorry, I didn't get your last name. Butler, okay. Okay, again, this is a public hearing. Your opportunity to make your comments known.
There is no one, I move to close public hearing.
Second.
Okay, let the record show that no one wishes to speak regarding Exit 23 storage. I have a motion by Mr. Goff, second by Mr. Gant, to close public hearing. Is there any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Public hearing's now closed. Planning Commission members, how about you? Do you have questions regarding this project?
Yeah, Mr. Sutler, what's the distance of the fence? Is it going to run the entire property line?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the privacy fence will run the distance of all of the buildings from the front edge where the gate is, all the way through the property.
I see.
Clearing all the buildings.
Is that what's noted with the little circles?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I'm set. Thank you.
And just one additional question, was the residential owner next door Was this discussed with them? Are they satisfied with an 8-foot fence?
I'm sorry?
He's with the developer, talking to landowners, neighbors, stuff like that.
Stuff like that?
My name is Brian Strout. I'm with Exit 23. The neighbors next door aren't really concerned about anything. We've talked to them about taking down some trees that are on the property line. We were going to pay for it. They won't return our calls. They just don't seem to be interested. We're opposed one way or the other. I do have some pictures that I could share with you of the property next door that may kind of show you what we're talking about.
This is the neighbor.
Yes.
The neighbor's property.
I think the privacy fence.
You'll maintain the property.
I,
Okay. I have no other questions.
Thank you. Anybody else have questions? Okay, if there's no further questions, then I'm ready for a motion.
I'll make the motion, we accept staff recommendation and approve the waiver due to the narrow width of the lot and the proposed screening surpasses the minimum required in the ordinance.
second.
Okay, I have a motion from Mr. Dan, second by Mr. Goff, to accept staff recommendation. That is to grant the waiver to section 802.1.B.I.A. And that would be the reduction of the property line. Any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, the next public hearing is Carissa Lane Storage.
I'm gonna have to recuse for conflict of interest.
Okay, let the record show that Mr. Dan is recusing from this topic due to conflict of interest.
This is a public hearing for request for sketch plan advancement. The project is Clarissa Lane Storage, file 2403-061. The developer is Panhandle Homes and the engineer is Fox and Associates. It's located in the Falling Waters District, tax map 7, parcel 173, and is located at the end of Clarissa Lane, which is east of Broad Lane, north of Interstate 81, and west of the West Virginia Welcome Center. The developer is proposing a 236-space storage lot for trailers and/or recreational vehicles on 15.73 acres. No utilities are being proposed. At the April 15th, 2024 Planning Commission meeting, the developer was granted a waiver to Section 801.1.10 to allow for gravel drive aisles and parking areas. On April 8th, 2024, County Engineer Doug Smith deemed the above-mentioned project compliant. The sketch plan meets the requirements of the subdivision ordinance, therefore staff recommends advancement of the sketch plan to the preliminary plan stage.
Hey, do we have anyone to represent the project?
Steve Sianovich with Fox and Associates representing the project.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. If you have questions, please come forward. Make those known to this building.
There is no one. I move to close public hearing.
Okay, let the record show that no one wishes to speak regarding Clarissa Lane Storage.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Goff, second by Mr. Lewis to close public hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Public hearing is now closed. Planning Commission members, how about you? Do you have questions of Mr. Sionovich?
Madam President, hearing none, I make a motion to advance the sketch plan to preliminary plan.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Bush, second by Mr. Lewis, to accept staff recommendation, and that is to advance the project to the preliminary plan stage. Are there any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Do you want to get Mr. Gant? Thank you. The next public hearing is Patriot Federal Credit Union.
Yes, this is a public hearing for request for sketch plan advancement. The project is Patriot Federal Credit Union at Butler's Crossing. The file is 2404-096. The developer is Patriot Federal Credit Union and the engineer is Integrity Federal Services. It's located in the Mill Creek District, Tax Map 6, Parcel 55.3. The site's located approximately 80 feet north of Duella Drive along Winchester Avenue, a part of the Butler's Crossing commercial development. The developer is proposing a single ATM with road loop, stormwater management, grading, and other associated improvements on 1.48 acres. Water and sewer utilities are not proposed for this use. No waivers or exceptions have been requested. On April 24th, 2024, County Engineer Doug Smith deemed the above-mentioned project compliant with the subdivision ordinance. The sketch plan meets the requirements of the subdivision ordinance, therefore staff recommends advancement of the sketch plan to the preliminary plan stage.
Do we have anyone to represent the project?
Chris Whitenauer with Integrity Federal Services.
I'm sorry, your last name?
Whitenauer.
Okay, this is a public hearing. Questions or comments at this time, please?
There are no questions. Move to close public hearing.
Let the record show that let the record show that there's no one to speak from the public. Did you say something?
I'm not saying second.
Oh, okay. Guess my hearing's gone. I can hear you. Okay, a motion by Mr. Goff, second by Mr. Gant to close the public hearing. Are there any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Public hearing is now closed. Do you have questions of the applicant's representative or the staff?
Hearing none, ma'am, I make a motion to advance sketch plan to preliminary plan.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Bush, second by Mr. Goff, to accept staff recommendation, and that is to grant the project from the sketch plan to the preliminary plan stage. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
The next public hearing is Martinsburg Healthcare.
Yes, this is a public hearing for request for sketch plan advancement. The project is Martinsburg Healthcare, file 2402-041. The developer is Next Martinsburg Realty LLC, and the engineer is Triad Engineering. It's located in the Apecan District, Tax Map 10G, Parcel 98, and is located at 209 Clover Street off Meadow Lane behind Old Courthouse Square. The developer is proposing a 13,600 square foot addition to the existing healthcare facility. The total site is approximately 5.8 acres and is currently served by public water and sewer. No waivers or exceptions have been requested. On April 26, 2024, County Engineer Doug Smith deemed the above-mentioned project compliant with the subdivision ordinance. The sketch plan meets the requirements of the subdivision ordinance, therefore staff recommends advancement of the sketch plan to the preliminary plan stage.
Okay, do we have anyone to represent this project?
Eric Hauser with Triad Engineering.
Thank you. Again, public hearing, questions or comments, please?
Mr. Smitherman, I'm a resident of Pleasant Court. A couple things is I know it's just a sketch, but is there somewhere for the water runoff, because we don't want it to flood our homes? Another thing is the employees park in the rear. and they speed up and down our road. Is there any way to get speed bumps or to eliminate the parking lot?
Any other questions or comments? You want to answer those questions for us, please?
As far as the stormwater, the bulk of the stormwater will go towards the front of the building. We will have some underground detention, plus bioretention areas. None of the regulations that will keep us from putting any more water off the site than what comes off the site as is. Speed bumps would have to be a city or a Pleasant Court in city or county. It would have to be.
I think it's in the county.
So that's be a recommendation from
The
you guys.
state road from the highway department.
Yeah.
If they're in the I don't know if they are or not.
I believe it's an abandoned road for the county. We were told as a community, actually,
You'll have to come forward and speak into the microphone, please.
we were actually told as a community that the health center actually paved the road. So the speeding is ridiculous. We have children. It's ridiculous. They're 40, 50 miles an hour when they come out. Sometimes when they come in, multiple times we have spoke to them, multiple, and it doesn't help.
Who are you speaking to?
So we actually spoken to the head of maintenance, Jessup, and he has went further. They've had meetings, which is coming from Jessup, but it's not helping. I mean, they fly up and down our road, and you can't go out. It is a court, so you end, but they fly. I mean, they fly at 30, 40, 50 miles an hour. We have children and we have a dog. I mean, we have a fenced-in yard, but still, it's absurd. It's crazy.
Where's our legal counsel?
So I did look up. Those roads in there are not roads incorporated into the DOH road network. Assuming that there is no homeowners association or other maintenance agreement in place, it's an orphan road. It's essentially a tragedy of the commons, free rider problem. There, everybody free to use, but nobody. A couple of potential solutions. None of them are that easy. Is one to try to petition the city to incorporate, since it's right beside the city, and two would be to petition the county commission for a road maintenance association, where everyone who owns property on those roads would then be forced to pay a fee to maintain them. Now, that includes speed control measures. That requires a 60% of 60% of petition the county commission. If you have other questions, I mean, I can sit down with you.
Has the county commission ever done anything like that before?
Yes.
Recently? Okay.
We don't mind any of the building. We don't mind anything. We really need speeding. That's all we're worried about is the speeding.
Well, the people that are doing the speeding,
Has to be reprimanded. Apparently there's been a talking to, but it goes no further.
but are they residents?
They are employees.
Employees
Yes,
of?
ma'am. So, if it was just deliveries in the rear, it would be great, but there's not. There's employees that fly on that way.
Employees of the health
That's correct.
care?
Actually, there's someone living in the parking lot right now. I mean, there's a lady in her car living there.
Also, call law enforcement.
I don't think people are allowed to live in their car, are they?
I don't know.
Gotta be a bathroom somewhere.
Certainly, we've watched them bring her trays out. Trays of food, we've watched it.
Give me your. I'll try to I got you. Give me your.
Sounds like a very serious problem, and I appreciate you offering to give them some legal advice.
It's not couched as legal advice, but yes.
Yeah, it is legal advice.
Represent the Unicare Health Services, which is the organization that operates the healthcare facility. So I appreciate hearing this feedback. I work for our corporate office.
You give us your name, please.
My name is Holly Norelli, Norelli. And, you know, obviously want to sit down with the community and talk about ways that we could come up with a solution potentially. I don't know if we're allowed to put in speed bumps since it's this abandoned road issue that I'm unaware. I don't know, but we can certainly,
There's no.
no, we can't do that.
I mean, odd about these. A lot of these places throughout the state. But you can't block the road. You can't block people from using it. Speed bumps. I don't know what others. We would consider speed. There's stop signs in there. Actually, there's not even a stop sign in there. That would be one. That would be some.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys are telling me that.
I think working with them,
Yeah.
their engineer, they might be able to do stop signs.
They've gone this far. You know, I'm worried about my
Sure.
children.
I have 4 kids, so I understand. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know, it's said something. We've been there for 2.5 years. You know?
Yeah.
For 2.5 years, we got. He knows exactly why.
Okay.
It would tell me right off the bat that yes, he's been over here 35 times.
Okay.
We'll try to come up with a solution.
If you
and
two could
yeah.
share information with each other, and then I guess you're giving Mr. Belgotti some information, or he's giving you some information to help you along with this process. Anybody else that wishes to speak under the public hearing comment?
If there is no one else, I move to close the public hearing portion.
Second.
Let the record show that there's no additional speakers. Have a motion by Mr. Goff, second by Mr. Gant. Close public hearing. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Public hearing is now closed. Planning Commission members, do you have questions of the applicant's representative or by Ms. Norelli or of the staff?
There are no questions. I'm making a motion we accept staff recommendation. The sketch plan meets requirements of the subdivision ordinance. Therefore, I'm making a motion we advance the sketch plan to the preliminary plan stage.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion, Mr. Gant, second by Mr. Goff, to accept staff recommendation, and that is to move, this is a sketch plat, so there could be a lot of changes that happen between now and the time the preliminary plan is actually approved. Are there any questions for Planning Commission members? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, opposed? No one is opposed. Okay. I hope you can get this resolved peacefully. Okay, the next public hearing is Mountain View Residential Development.
Yes, this is a public hearing for request for sketch plan advancement. The project is Mountain View Residential Development, file 2207-196. The developer is Allermouche Properties and the engineer is Thrasher Group. It's located in the Falling Waters District, tax map 16, parcel 8.3. This project's located on the west side of Weaver Lane, approximately half a mile south of its intersection with Knighttown Road. The developer's proposing 180 townhome lots and 353 single-family lots on 172.6 acres to be served by public water and sewer. No waivers or exceptions have been requested. On April 30th, 2024, County Engineer Doug Smith deemed the above-mentioned project compliant with the subdivision ordinance. The sketch plan meets the requirements of the subdivision ordinance, therefore staff recommends advancement of the sketch plan to the preliminary plan stage.
Okay, do we have anyone to represent the project?
Brad Messenger with Thrasher Group.
Okay, this is a public hearing. Questions or comments, please, regarding this project? Come forward, please.
It's just a recommendation, Ms. Barnhart. We
You wanna
can't
just
hear.
give us your name?
Ellen Mayer,
Okay.
and I'm here for another petition that will be later, but we can't hear your voice. Could you use your microphone a little bit closer? It's very
Well,
hard to hear you.
It's on
We can hear everyone else.
really?
Yeah.
I thought I was pretty loud. The microphones are not movable. They're stationary. I don't know how to get them any closer. Maybe you want to set up a little bit.
Well, I did move.
Okay, okay. Regarding this project, is there any public comments?
If not, I move to close the public hearing portion.
Second.
Okay, let the record show that there's no one to speak from the public regarding Mountain View Residential. I have a motion of Mr. Goff, second by Mr. Gant, to close the public hearing. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Public hearing is now closed. Planning Commission members, do you have questions of the staff or of Mr. Messer?
We have a question. I noticed that there's not a Department of Highways permit yet, but has there been any conversation about the distance between the two proposed entrances?
Yeah, we met with the district representative.
And the distance between those two?
Correct, yeah, they're.
Thank you.
Somewhere in that ballpark.
I have a question about how long ago that these permits or these studies had been proposed. And whenever the school analysis and the traffic impact study was done, was it done under the auspice of this kind of development or this particular development?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Not reduced a lot, sir.
Okay, so you've had this in the works since 2022?
Basically, the team has,
The what? And what did you say before that, though?
the traffic impact.
Okay.
Indicated self-diversity at the intersection. Which also is in concert with the Lakes of Barnes. That's where all the this additional QE is made for 11.
Well, it does sound like it's been being examined. Okay, is there any further questions?
So just out of curiosity, I know it's early in the stormwater management process, but do you anticipate that you'll be able to handle all the stormwater management on site, or are you going to have to shed any?
We've actually been in conversations with the Lakes
Okay,
developer.
that's where I'm going.
Actually coordinating to
Okay.
stormwater into the.
Yep, thank you.
Any other questions? If there's no further questions, can I have a motion?
Make the motion, we accept staff recommendation, sketch plan meets requirements of subdivision ordinance. Make the motion, we advance the sketch plan to preliminary plan stage.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Gant, second by Mr. Bush, to move the project forward from the sketch plan to the preliminary plan stage. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, the next public hearing is Grace Church.
Yes, this is a public hearing for request for sketch plan advancement. The project is Grace Church, file 2402-028. The developer is Trustees of the Grace Church and the engineer is J.J. Companies. It's located in the Arden District, tax map 5, parcel 9.9, and is located southwest of the intersection of Apple Harvest Drive and Interstate 81. It's directly behind Target at the end of Retail Commons Parkway. The developer is proposing a 21,000 square foot church with adjacent parking area, athletic field, amphitheater, and access road. The entire site is 11.74 acres and will be served by public water and sewer. No waivers or exceptions have been requested. On April 26, 2024, County Engineer Doug Smith deemed the above-mentioned project compliant with the subdivision ordinance. The sketch plan meets the requirements of the subdivision ordinance, therefore staff recommends advancement of the sketch plan to the preliminary plan stage.
Thank you. Do we have anyone to represent the project?
Yes, ma'am. Chris Waddell, JHA Companies.
This is a public hearing. Your opportunity to make your questions and comments known regarding this project.
There are no questions. I move to close public hearing.
Let the record show there's no one to speak on this project. That's Grace Church. I have a motion by Mr. Goff to close
Second.
public hearing, second by Mr. Gant. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Public hearing is now closed. Planning Commission members, how about you? Do you have questions?
There are no questions. I'll make the motion, we accept staff recommendation, sketch plan meets requirements of subdivision ordinance. Make the motion, we advance the sketch plan to preliminary plan stage.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Gant,
Second.
second by Mr. Bush, to advance the project from the sketch plan to the preliminary plan stage, and that would be Grace Church. Are there any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Public hearing is, the motion is approved.
Thank you.
Okay, the last public hearing is Shepherdstown Landing.
Yes, this is a public hearing for request for waiver. The project is Shepherdstown Landing, file 2404-101, tied to 2403-083. The developer is the Allen Marsh Development Group and the engineer is J.J. Companies. It's located in the Apecan District, tax map 13, parcel 3, and is located at 630 Foreman Road East off Cedar Lane, approximately 1.5 miles south of Cedar Lane and Scrabble Road intersection. The developer is proposing a 3.80 acre residential lot and a 199.60 acre residue to be served by private well and septic. The developer is requesting a waiver to section 305.4.1 of the subdivision ordinance requiring WVDOH road frontage to proceed through the preliminary final plat process. Since the proposed Lot 1 is currently improved with a single-family residence, staff recommends approval of the waiver to section 305.1 or 305.4.1 contingent on the following: that the existing impervious coverage on Lot 1 will be incorporated into the overall stormwater management design for the Shepherdstown Landing development. And I'll expand on it a little bit. They're just trying to create a lot to sell the house that's currently on the parcel before they go through with the entire sketch plan.
Do we have anyone to represent the project?
Yes, ma'am. Chris Waddell, JHA Companies.
Okay, I know all you people are here for this project because you haven't said anything all evening long. So who wants to jump up first and tell us what's on their mind? Please give me your name and your address. And
Karen
pull the
Hartman.
pull the microphone down. There we go.
Karen Hartman,
Okay.
688 Cedar Lane.
Mhm.
This is a very rural area. with a very small road. Cedar Lane is a very small road.
Familiar with it.
And we already have the same problem the other gentleman has with traffic just flying up and down that road. And to add this much traffic to that area is unconscionable. This is absolutely a ridiculous amount of houses to put in there. There's no need to put another road other than Foreman Road. It's only so that they can put a few more around the back. And we are very concerned about our wells. We're very concerned about traffic. We're very concerned about noise, all of it. And the initial plan had said it was going to keep in line with what is in the community. And the most recent plot that I've seen is nothing like what's in our community. We are a wildlife out there. And it looks like they're taking down all the trees. There's going to be blasting because it's all rock out there. And this is going to be a major, major disruption to all of us. And it's not going to improve our lives at all.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Any other people that want to speak? I will tell you that this is just a waiver for one lot. It's not the entire project. One lot. Okay?
My name's Rita Rudolph. I live at 1215 Cedar Lane, and we live directly opposite this property. They're wanting to develop
Wait a minute.
several.
Start over, please. There's way too much chatter in the back.
Yeah. I'm Rita. I live in 1215 Cedar Lane, directly across from the property in question. Cedar Lane is about the worst treated road in the whole county. We're the last ones to get the snowplow. We have all the potholes. And now they want to put 200 and some houses across the road from us on a road that's about as wide for a car and a half. I don't know what's going to happen to us out there, but it's going to be noisy, it's going to be dirty. And we've talked about it a lot in the neighborhood, and we're very much against the development of this property. And evidently the houses are going to be pretty crowded in there. I don't know if they're 1 acre or 2 acres, I'm not really sure.
Have we seen the entire project?
It's under review right now.
It's under review, but has...
We reviewed it once. You haven't seen it. No,
Okay.
Planning Commission.
We have not seen this.
Okay.
This board has not seen this. The staff has.
Okay.
So,
Well, we're putting our words in now because
Right,
we're really
well,
worried about it.
Yeah, the things that you're mentioning, of course, our staff is hearing, we are hearing, but right now, the only thing we can consider tonight is that one lot.
Now, where's that one lot?
Where is it? Lot one?
It's still in house. Somebody wants to purchase that house, so they lots of big house. There will be another public hearing once
Okay.
it's been reviewed by engineering and our office, and we deemed it compliant. There'll be another public hearing, overall development.
Because we're all very concerned, particularly since Cedar Road is not a very good road.
Okay, well, like she says, there will be another public hearing whenever the entire project is being submitted. So at that time, you may want to band together and get your ideas so that you can present them for the staff and for the planning commission to consider at that time.
Well, we
Right
just
now,
want to have a chance.
we're
Yeah.
only considering one lot tonight.
Okay, well, there was probably some misunderstanding because we thought the whole shebang was going to be approved, and we were, I don't want to look out my window and see some big builder sign out there and a bunch of cookie cutter houses.
Well,
It's going to ruin it.
let me just tell you that if they meet our subdivision regulations, we have no choice but to approve them. We cannot say, there's too many houses, I don't like the way they look. If they meet our ordinance, we have to approve them. Mr. Legal, do you want to confirm of that?
Correct.
That sucks. It does, I
I'm
can see some
familiar.
homes over there, but
Yeah.
the way it's being described is a regular subdivision.
I'm familiar with
With a
Cedar
store,
Lane.
by the way, a grocery store.
Yeah, I'm familiar with Cedar Lane.
Yeah, so
It is an area.
You'll hear from us then.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Just keep your eyes open for an additional public hearing once the staff has reviewed it. You have a, wait a minute, Mr. Engineer here wants to talk to us first.
Yes, ma'am. Just one thing to note, during the initial review, just to lay some concerns to rest in here, we do know that all
Speak into
these
the
are,
microphone so
we
everybody.
do know these are all well lots, so they'll be served by wells. It's more than 15 lots, so it will require a hydrogeologic study to be done for the whole subdivision. It will have to consider surrounding properties, surrounding wells. That study will have to demonstrate that all these wells are feasible without drawing in the recharges there for these wells so that it doesn't draw down from the other properties. As far as the road goes for Cedar Lane, that is a DOH roadway. However, we will make the comment that the road is narrow. It's 18 feet roughly of pavement. It should be improved. Well, whether DOH carries on with that, as you all well know, we make the comments. It's up to DOH to decide. As far as stormwater goes, I mean, that's rather simple on this one. We have made those comments back to the applicant, and some of these questions, obviously, a hydrogeologic study is not going to get answered at sketch plan. That's going to be down the road somewheres along with the DIS.
All right, I don't know if that gives you any satisfaction. You wanted to speak again, please?
I still have one more question.
Okay, come forward and make it known.
This house in question was sold last year with 20 acres. And apparently, the person who bought it, it was never disclosed to them that, first of all, somebody committed suicide in that house, and also that there was going to be a development coming. So if this house sold once without a waiver, why do they need a waiver now?
That's all one parcel to our knowledge. We haven't seen any, the parcel was subdivided 20 acres off of that residue. They need a waiver because they want to subdivide it without having the DOH road frontage, because DOH only maintains to the curb and they don't maintain all the way back to the house. Otherwise, they would have to go through the sketch plan process, and it really would just take a lot more time for the same result. Really just a time saver so they can go to closing for the person that wants.
Time we have.
Same requirements are required either way.
Just a procedural question, because you're right, all of us are here for that development. And I tried to tell people, I didn't get around to everyone, that it was only for the waiver on the stone house. We need to know how many public hearings will be scheduled for the development itself to address our concerns.
Two.
Okay, so then we need to.
One more before the lots are created, really. You'll have your sketch plan, but then it won't be until final plat after the design's approved.
But there will be two public hearings.
There'll be more, probably more than two. They're not going to final plat all of them at the same time. So you'll have one recent after this. It'll probably be a few months after this. You'll see if the thing's signed. But the preliminary plan doesn't have a public hearing. It just comes before planning commission.
Okay, so.
They can start grading and moving dirt after that. But then when they come back to create the lot, that's when there'll be another public hearing.
Okay, so we need to get on the website and have that notice sent to us. I think there's a way to have a notice sent about your meetings.
There is.
Yeah.
Okay. There is. When you go to the county website, you can have every planning commission meeting agenda emailed to you.
Thank you.
You'll have your email lighten up. Not just for one project, though, you'll hear it for all of them. Okay, is there any other questions or comments regarding this one lot waiver?
Willingham. I live on Cedar Lane. My concern is if this development hasn't been approved by the commission, why are we granting them a waiver?
We're granting them a waiver for the one lot because it does not sit on the main highway. And that's all we're giving them, is the ability to sell that one lot without having access to the right-of-way to the state road.
Okay, and that is a proper protocol without the development being passed before your board?
We do it frequently, but it's up to this board and up to the staff. Staff makes a recommendation. This board can either accept their recommendation or they could deny the recommendation.
Is that a common thing that you would grant someone a waiver without
I
a
will,
preliminary?
I'll expand it a little bit. It's a procedural waiver. It's not a requirement waiver. There's no requirements that are being waived. It's all procedural. Not, the engineer would have to draw up a sketch plan, have a 14-day public hearing for one lot, go to preliminary plan for one lot, go to final plat for one lot. This allows them to do one plat, come before planning commission for one lot. Just procedural. It's no requirements are being disturbed.
I guess I'm probably going to speak for the folks that have lived down there for 30 years, that we hope that this board will consider that this is our community and we want to look, we knew this was coming and we want things to be done with respect.
Well, again, as long as it meets the regulations, we have no choice but to approve it. And
Here is elected, right?
no, we're appointed.
We're appointed.
We're appointed by the county commission.
Big payroll checks.
No, we get no
Only
pay.
people that are builders.
Okay, we get no pay. This is a volunteer job. And how do you think that might be? Okay, sir, come forward, please.
Hi, my name is Hayden Rudolph. I'm a resident of Cedar Lane. I've been listening to the discussion, and I understand that this process is going to move forward. But how do we, as residents, how are we able to see what is being proposed in our neighborhood? How can we see what we are opposed to or what we are in favor of? Where may we see what you are going to see? Thank you.
You're more than welcome to come into the planning office any day, and everything's online. So if you have access to the internet, we can send you a link to all the project files.
Additional questions?
If there are no additional questions, I move to close the public hearing portion.
Okay, public hearing closure by Mr. Goff.
Second.
Second by Mr. Gant. Any questions, planning commission members? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the public hearing is now closed. And now is the opportunity for the planning commission to ask questions of Mr. Wydell or of the staff. And again, this is just one lot that we're looking at tonight.
So I just had a question about Foreman. As I understand, it's an HOA, it's a state-owned road right now, but maintained to the bend. So when the neighborhood is redesigned, will Lot 1 be dedicated within the community?
It will be part of the new road. It has a temporary access where the
Yes.
driveway is now.
Yes.
We'll have a permanent access on the new road.
That's right, thank you.
Planning commission members, additional questions?
There are no further questions. I'll make the motion. We accept staff recommendation, approve the waiver for section 305.4.1, contingent upon the following: existing impervious coverage on lot 1 be incorporated into the overall stormwater management design in Shepherd's Landing.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Gant. Second by Mr. Lewis. Are there any additional questions, planning commission members? If there are not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Thank you for being very patient this evening and for your comments. The next item that concludes our public hearings. The next item on the agenda is preliminary plan approval for Oakleaf Meadows.
Have to recuse for a conflict of interest.
Okay, let the record show that Mr. Gant is recusing. Let's give.
I'll just wait.
Let's give the folks a few minutes to vacate the building. Well, the deputies, do you mind closing the door? Thank you. Okay.
You good?
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. This is a request for preliminary plan approval. The project is Oakleaf Meadows, Section 1, file 2310-344. The developer's Panhandle Homes and the engineers Fox and Associates. It's located in the Mill Creek District, tax map 11, parcels 2 and 2.3. The site's located on the south side of Sulphur Springs Road, approximately quarter-mile east of Zigzag Lane. Section 1 proposes 131 single-family detached lots and 16 single-family attached villa lots on approximately 86 acres to be served by public water and sewer. At the April 3rd, 2023 Planning Commission meeting, the developer was granted a waiver to Section 801, Table 8-1A, requiring 3 parking spaces per single-family attached dwelling, with 1 space being off-site. On May 10th, 2024, County Engineer Doug Smith deemed the above-mentioned project compliant with the subdivision ordinance. The preliminary plan meets the requirements of the subdivision ordinance, therefore staff recommends advancement of the preliminary plan to the final plat stage.
Okay. This is Mr. Sianovich, I'm sure, right?
Yes, representing the applicant.
Okay. Planning Commission members, do you have questions of Mr. Sianovich or the staff?
Mr. Sianovich, I guess I'll just cut to the chase. Back to the 2 entrance thing that I seem to get hung up on. I mean, here it looks like there's 16 homes served by 1 entrance and 131 served by the 2nd entrance. To me, that just is not within the spirit of the 2 entrance requirement. Maybe you could give some more color to that to say in future phases there will be additional means of egress. Could you tell me more about the egress plan for this phase and future phases?
Sure. If I could speak to the ultimate development first, it may shed some light on which direction the developer would like to go here. This is section 1 of a 3-section project. The next section we're working on is to the west. That's referred to as section 2. That's going to be.
Is that Lamplight, towards Lamplight?
No, the opposite.
The other way, okay.
Lamplight would be east
of
the section 1. Section 2 is going to be all villa lots, duplexes, villas. Then section 3 is going to be a mix of townhouses, primarily townhomes, along with some commercial uses. That's closer to Lamplight. There'll be a third means, full movement, ingress, egress to the community via, I forget the street name, but it intersects close to where Lamplight is. That'll be on the east side of the parent tract, but again, that will come under section 3 of the project development. Now, to your point, your earlier question, we do have 2 full movement means of ingress, egress into this community. The DOH permits for those entrances have been issued, and that does meet the criteria with regard to 2 entrances once we exceed the 100 lot threshold. I do, in a sense, understand your point, where somebody looks at it, maybe you look at section 1 as a whole, and the entrances should be on, the extreme outsides of the section. There are site distance requirements that we have to maintain and achieve. There are separation requirements we have to maintain. In this particular instance, the two entrances that are shown as a part of this preliminary plan meet the criteria of site distance and also intersection spacing. And again, we do have the DOH permit for this project. I'd also like to add that once we get over a certain threshold of lots, and that threshold is effectively going to be what's before you this evening. Once that threshold is exceeded, or met, excuse me, then we're required to update the traffic impact statement once we get some people living in this community to make sure that our projections for traffic at other intersections in the area our projections are supported by real life trip generation from the community. So there will be another review of traffic before any lots in addition to what you have before you this evening for action are approved.
Would you agree, though, that the subdivision ordinance with respect to the two entrance requirement for life safety purposes is separate from DOH analysis of entrance permits? Because I look here and to me, it's almost like further development on the east side exacerbates my concern because they'll be using, is that Mutual Drive?
Mutual Drive is one of the main thoroughfares in the community.
And so Mutual Drive is still spilling out on the access road for the existing 131 units for phase one, section one, phase one.
Well,
I've got some concerns that, should there be an issue in future development on the east side, I've got some concerns of getting, life safety equipment back there in the event of an emergency, but also, looking at the spirit of the two entrance requirement, it's just not an equal load. It looks like everything's going out Mutual Drive.
Again, once you see, really to your point, section one is in the middle of the parent track. We're going to expand to the west, expand to the east. Our entrance separations, if my memory serves me correctly, are 605-foot separation from the Mutual Drive. Can't remember the name of the western entrance. You may have to help me out with that.
Hard for me to read, but yeah, I'm with you.
Okay, so there's about, I think it's 605-foot separation there. So if there was an accident, on Mutual Drive at its intersection with Sulphur Spring, there'd be another access to the community over 600 feet away.
But a potential issue if there's a blockage at Mutual and I don't know what that is. Inoa?
Nyquist Drive, I believe, or something like that.
But I mean, I'm happy to show it to you.
No, I know exactly where you're talking.
Yeah, so if there's a blockage there, before any connection to lamplight, there's no access into the community.
I would.
That's the argument that we make many times. Also deaf ears.
I would like to clarify something. My statements I made earlier, the third entrance into this community will not be to lamplight. Will be to Sulphur Springs.
Yes,
Road,
yeah, I
near
misstated.
Lamplight.
Yeah, thank you. That's my fault. Yeah, I've got concerns. I think you did the best you can, but I have concerns with the layout as presented.
Thank you.
What we did today, GIS for this is cooked because however, the development was throttled. This amount of lots. There could be no improvement if you want.
At present, given the the
what's
property
there,
that's available.
There's no way to get right away. And that's what you ultimately need. You can't change the signal timings. They looked at several different things. So it's throttled at this point. It was felt that once this initial phase goes in, redo the traffic study, decide what the distributions are. Some people are saying that more people go the opposite right now. where's the traffic really going to go?
And I have, it goes to Fish Hatchery Road, which leads you to Darksville, and you're at a T with a stop sign that's it's just not conducive to that area there.
That's true.
And there's not going to be a lot of traffic go to Jefferson County. I mean, I just really feel like.
That's what they're counting, is the traffic was split between coming this way versus going to Jefferson.
Well, to get to Route 7 or anything to go to Leesburg, they're not going to go out past the fairgrounds. They're going to come to the intersection there at the light at Sulphur Springs Road and take 51 down and go across Summit Point or out that way to get to Leesburg. They're not going to go around Fish Hatchery or around Sulphur Springs Road and out through Leetown. It's just, people are going to take the shortest distance.
ITE gives you a distribution what you should assume. They suggest it. You know, it's an art. I'm just going to be honest with you. It's an art. Which way do they go? A lot of times, I would probably say that this is a better method. Let's build 100 homes, see where they go, and that gives us an idea of where 400 homes. Or a much better idea of what you need to do at the intersection.
But is there any, I mean, I see a conservation area on the east side of the tract. Is there even any, if we did that and we said, okay, let's see where phase 2 goes and we'll put another egress out into Sulphur Springs somehow, I don't see how that's feasible given the conservation area that's outlined. Is that fair?
There's a conservation area within the Section 1 plating limits.
Mm-hmm.
There's lands that are deemed remaining lands to the east and to the west of Section 1.
That would sit directly behind lots, say, 3 and 4. Does that make sense?
Yes, and then go westward quite a distance.
Mm-hmm.
So we have conservation easements proposed as a part of the sketch plan, but nothing is platted or will be platted under Section 1 that would potentially encumber the remaining lands to prevent, additional road networking and things like that. We try to really only final plat, lots, roadways, stormwater, and other various components within the section. Since we don't have hard engineering completed on Section 2 or 3, we wouldn't want to needlessly encumber that remaining lands with easements, rights of way, until we have detailed engineering done to demonstrate where those easements or rights of way need to be.
This is conservation area of the wetlands.
Avoided.
Yeah. Basically, we know there's wetlands. They avoided all any interference. As part of the ordinance, take it place in the conservation state. Actually, this is a good thing because it protects it if they do solve the traffic issue. If the subdivision goes from 100 lots to 400 lots, this is protected. These wetlands are already protected from any activity, disturbance, damage.
I guess, what is the likelihood, though, that in phase 2, that there would be a second or a third egress if you could get an entrance permit to relieve the pressure on the east side of the development?
In the case of Section 2, which is defined as the west portion of the
Section
site,
3.
Section 3,
Yeah.
our sketch
Phase
plan,
3.
Section 3, we now use section. There's phases within sections, but the primary is section.
Mm-hmm.
So Section 3 would be to the east towards Lamplight. We've already worked with DOH to select and stake an entrance location within Section 3 that has been deemed compliant with the site distance and intersection spacing criteria. When the TIS was prepared, it didn't look at Section 1 with blinders on. It looked at the entire project, that the lot yield, lot type was based on the sketch plan that's already been before this planning commission enacted upon.
Planning Commission members, do you have additional questions? If not, can I have a motion?
I move advancement of the preliminary plan to the final plat stage.
I have a motion by Ms. Norton to accept the staff recommendation and advance the preliminary plan to the final plat stage.
Second.
Second by Mr. Goff. Any further questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Okay, let me see the ayes with a show of hands. Okay, I have two. Let me see the nays with a show of hands. Okay, it's up to me, isn't it?
It is.
Well, I think that Mr. Bush's questions are legitimate. This is a big subdivision, but I also hear the staff's recommendation, and I feel pretty confident that they will keep the project going in the right manner. So I will say aye, which passes the project forward.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Okay, the next project is, did anybody, yeah, there he came back, okay. The next project is the Grant family.
This is a request for preliminary final plat approval. The project is the Grant family, file 2304-127. The developer is James Robertson and the surveyor is Greenway Engineering. It's located in the Arden District, tax map 11, parcel 68.5, and is located at the Route 9 bypass and a Pecking Connector Road improvements. The project proposes the creation of Lot A, which is approximately 4.92 acres, Lot B, approximately 12.72 acres, a residue lot, which is approximately 10.83 acres, altogether, which is 28.56 acres. It was a parcel that was dissected when Route 9 bypass was put in. And those lots are to be served by public water and sewer. The project's compliant with the, I missed one. On May 10th, 2024, County Engineer Doug Smith deemed the above-mentioned project compliant with the subdivision ordinance. The project's compliant with the subdivision ordinance, therefore staff recommends approval of the preliminary final plat.
Okay, do you have anybody to represent the project?
Hi, good evening. Jamie McLean with Greenway Engineering.
Been sitting there awfully quiet for a long time. Okay, Planning Commission members, do you have questions of Ms. McLean or of the staff?
Hearing none, ma'am, I make a motion to approve the preliminary final plat.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Bush, second by Mr. Gant, to approve the preliminary final plat for the Grant family. Are there any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you very much.
Okay, final plat determination, Southbrook, Section 2, Phase 3.
This is a request for final plat determination. The project is Southbrook, Section 2, Phase 3, lots 186 through 221, and townhouse lots 103 through 107, and townhouse lots 170 through 177. The file is 2403-055, and the developer is Chandler's Glen LLC, and the engineer is Gordon. It's located in the Mill Creek District, map 3, parcel 9, and is located on Shiley Road, approximately 0.3 miles north of Hatchery Road. This phase proposes 36 single-family lots and 16 townhouse lots on approximately 14.10 acres to be served by public water and sewer. No waivers or exceptions have been requested. On May 13th, 2024, County Engineer Doug Smith deemed the above-mentioned project compliant with the subdivision ordinance. The final plat meets the requirements of the subdivision ordinance, therefore staff recommends final plat determination and advertising of a public hearing for consideration of final plat approval at the June 17th, 2024 Planning Commission meeting.
Okay. Do we have anyone to represent the project?
Chris Whitenauer
Thank you.
with Integrity Federal Services.
Planning Commission members, do you have questions of the representative or of the staff?
Just one comment, and this is one of the subdivisions that I think uses Sulphur Springs Road to get to 51 based on its access off of Fish Hatchery Road. So I really don't understand why the state highway department couldn't take that into consideration when they were looking at opening
They
it.
did look at that intersection with EIS for that one and for that. Like, they did consider, you know, on Southbrook here, I mean, the main thing, I mean, the accidents really, there's been a lot more on
Shiley Road.
Shiley, yeah. Now, we've got a lot of complaints about fish hatchery. We do know that there's an infill project for that farm that wasn't bought. Didn't sell that. Several people have approached us about that. We understand that's going. There's been we've gotten a lot of calls about the traffic. And as you recall, we mentioned that I fought that down till I was threatened to be taken to circuit.
Just a disclaimer, though, the engineer did try to put that entrance at one hatchery at a different location, which did not allow them. So both of us tried to fight that entrance, and it's just become a nightmare. I get calls about it every week.
Had nothing to do with his project, but I'm just saying that this is two rather large subdivisions.
It was part of the scope,
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
they
are side by
did use
side.
this in the
Sorry about
study
that.
of the, now when Southbrook was done, they didn't know about the other one. But when the other one was done, Southbrook was already cooked, so they had all the data, so all that was in. They did look at many of the civil. We felt that there would be a lot of traffic that would be smart, who would cut across country to hatchery, rather than fight the other way, because in the TIS for the other subdivisions, I think when we talked about it in sketch, the roundabouts of 51 are showing that capacity very close to okay. Not 5 years from now, not a build out today. Something to think about.
Cars better get wings.
Huh?
Cars better get wings.
Jetpacks.
No further questions? How about a motion?
Make the motion, we accept staff recommendation, final plat meets the requirements of the subdivision ordinance 2009. Therefore, I make the motion, final plat determination, advertising of a public hearing for consideration of final plat approval, June 17, 2024, Planning Commission meeting.
Motion by Mr. Gantz, second by Mr. Lewis, and that is to conduct a public hearing at which time the final plat will be considered on June 17, 2024. Any further questions? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Last but not least, Weber Springs.
This is a request for final plat determination. The file is 2312-406. The developer is Weber Springs LLC, and the surveyor is Roberts Land Surveying. It's located in the Mill Creek District, tax map 10, parcel 18.5, and is located along Middleway Pike, approximately 1,800 feet south of Sulphur Spring Road. This final plat proposes 20 townhouse lots on approximately 7.8 acres to be served by public water and sewer. No waivers or exceptions have been requested. On May 15th, 2024, County Engineer Doug Smith deemed the above-mentioned project compliant with the subdivision ordinance. The final plat meets the requirements of the subdivision ordinance, therefore staff recommends final plat determination and advertising of a public hearing for consideration of final plat approval at the June 17th, 2024 Planning Commission meeting.
And Mr. Roberts,
Just one request.
what's that?
I get to go first on the next agenda.
I was gonna say, we need to give you a hard time.
Well, you know, when I rearrange or ask for an agenda to be rearranged, sometimes I get Nah.
I'm just.
But- Well, you know, you get to hear it all, and you've never heard it before, so it's like all news to you. So you have to represent this project. You have questions of Mr. Roberts, now that we've badgered him,
This is another subdivision that should be getting close to the end, right?
you would think.
There'll probably be at least 2 more phases.
2 more?
I'm working on one right now.
Okay.
There's still some lots that haven't even been,
And it's all on the back side of it,
all the way
right?
in the back.
But they're small sections, right? They're not great big sections.
Same size as this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, if no further questions, how about a motion?
Make the motion, we accept staff recommendation. Final plat determination, advertising for a public hearing for consideration, final plat approval on June 17th, 2024 Planning Commission meeting.
Second.
Okay, a motion, Mr. Gans, second, Mr. Goff, to accept staff recommendation, and that is to conduct a public hearing on June 17, 2024, at which time the final plat will be considered for approval. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? There we go.
Thank you.
You got it. Thanks for your patience. How about staff council discussion action motion?
I think subdivision ordinance is going to be discussed by county commission this week about advertising.
Oh, okay.
It's not this week, it's next. I can't remember which agenda they got on. But we were playing with dates because of the holiday, the West Virginia Day, Juneteenth, and they did not having a public hearing on that Thursday and the 30-day period, so I can't remember which one exactly. But it's either this week or next. So that's moving forward.
Mr. Delegati, do you know the date? Hey, I want to tell you what a good job you two did at the workshop in answering questions and hopefully making any changes, if there were any changes, that they were minor. You did a great job with the public, Laura. You did. I'm very proud of you. And
Yeah, you clearly put a lot of work into it.
yes, Mr. Bush was there for were you there for Tuesday?
Just one.
Tuesday,
Just
you were
one
just there
meeting.
Tuesday, and you were here on Thursday. So I commend you both. I'll see that you get a pay raise. How's that?
I will hold my breath, but thanks.
Not. Okay. If there's nothing else to discuss.
Move to adjourn.
Motion by Mr. Goff,
Second.
second by Mr. Gant, 7:22. All those in favor?
Aye.